Hey, how are you today? Just wanted to make a quick video about I've got a blood test coming up next Tuesday, and as much as I feel like I'm ready for it, there's this I've noticed I have this low level of anxiety that's kind of percolating in the back of my mind. I kind of expect the numbers will be good because I've been exercising and I want to say I've been eating right and eating well, and for the most part, that's true, but I still, snack occasionally and get the occasional burger at the fast food restaurants and whatnot. But yeah, I, uh, I'm curious to see what my numbers will be because, like, it was last December that the first high number on the lymphocytes showed up, which led to the subsequent blood test in January, which still showed them high, which led to the flow cytometry, which led to the diagnosis and all that. And now this is my first blood test since January, I guess, that's going to measure the complete blood count. So, what are my lymphocytes going to look like? What is my neutrophil count going to look like? And it's funny because when I first discovered all this, I didn't know what a lot of those cells were. And so I didn't know which counts to look at, what the right numbers would be. Although, if you look at like my chart or Epic or whatever kind of online portal you have to your medical information, mine gives like these charts with green and yellow, and if your numbers are in the right, green zone and all that. And um, so I started looking at that, and most of mine were okay, except for like a couple. And then now I'm sort of like I looked up what all the stuff is, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society has nice charts that explain everything. They got a whole thing that breaks down all the blood cell types and all that. And I was like, wow, I didn't know there was all this stuff. And my primary care physician, I saw him last Monday, and he explained how different blood cells have different life cycles. And he was thinking, a certain amount of time, these may not show up anymore. And I was like, really? And he's like, it's possible. I said, what about the like the whole gene rearrangement thing? Isn't that like something that I was like, well, it has been known to disappear. So it's like I have this whole cloud of uncertainty around this blood test, and I'm just like, what the hell? Um, so here's how it typically goes with me with stress. I'm pretty good. My brain, my mind, somewhere back here, I don't know. I'm sure you could probably locate a physical place where this little thingy lives that it goes into denial about stuff. And so it's like, okay, everything's fine. I feel good. I don't really have any symptoms. So it's easy for me to ignore it. And so I go to the gym, I do all this stuff, and I feel good. But then somewhere in the back of my mind, the closer it gets, it's kind of like test anxiety or something, which is why I think about piano recitals, right? There's like a total different level of stress, but it's something that you have to prepare for. And there's a difference there. I'll get to that in a second. But um, yeah, I'm good at ignoring things or blocking it from my mind. But then as the reality gets closer, blood test coming up, blood test coming up, John. Like this thing creeping up on me. Um, then all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, what's this thing going to show me? So I'm half of me is eager to find out because I'm hoping the numbers are good, and I'm really like, yay. Or the other half is like, what's this going to show me? And it's like, what if the numbers are different? A very common thing for people with my type of leukemia is that the neutrophils, your first line of defense against infection, those can drop in count. And if it gets too low, you can't fight off infection. This is the thing my hematologist warned me about when I first did, uh, or when I had my first visit with him, and I did that blood test back in January. And so he advised me to keep up with my vaccinations and even to wear a mask when I'm around lots of people. And yeah, there's different infection, right? You can have viral infection, bacterial infection, but and I assume different blood cells and different things fight off different stuff. I think neutrophils are more for bacteria, but the same principle applies, right? If your ability to fight off infection is weakened, you need to take steps to protect yourself. And so I see on support groups and stuff neutropenia, which is low neutrophil count. that's one of the common things people discuss, along with fatigue and a few other symptoms. And that's what leads to treatment regimens that involve all kind of different medications. And then I see people talking about how a medicine that worked for one guy doesn't work for someone else, and it's a struggle. And I feel for my fellow patients, my peers in this experience, because they you know some of them are going through some stuff, and when I look at that, I worry that, will I go that same route, or what are they doing differently than I do? What can I do to keep myself healthy? There's like a whole lot of things that float around in your mind. And so when I think about piano recital, right, you get, or anything that you have to prepare for, something where you're going to be maybe performing in front of others, something that also gives you anxiety, right? Performance anxiety. I would say the difference, though, is that, and like, I've been taking piano lessons for about a year, and so yes, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but it does take this longer to learn it, I think. Um, and so my teacher, I was going to say conned, but I'll be nice. Persuaded me to participate in this recital, and I'm still having second thoughts about it because I got to prepare. And that's the difference, though, right? I can prepare for that. I can practice. I can work measure by measure to try and learn some song and get marginally good at it so that I can do a performance. But for a blood test, you don't. There's nothing to practice. Well, that's not totally true, is it? You can practice breathing. You can practice meditating, being present with your experience, even if it's anxiety, right? Anxiety is something to meditate with. And it is interesting that when you sit with it, it's very uncomfortable, right? I've said before in a previous video that meditation can be really boring. Uh, That's true when nothing's really going on in your head. But when you have a pretty hefty chunk of anxiety sitting somewhere in your body, and yes, if you're sitting and meditating with your breath, just sitting, being present, you can find places in your body where you probably have tension. I probably mentioned this before. But so it's not just that it's a mental thing, it's also a physical thing. And so we can practice with the breath and sitting patiently with the physical sensations that come up. A lot of time it's the physical sensations that cause us the most suffering. I'll put it in air quotes there, but because it, we resist it, we don't want it, and we want to push it away. And a lot of times, if you sit and you breathe with it and you just let yourself experience it and don't resist it, just allow your body to relax. Let that tension go. By letting go of that tension, it can help your mind relax as well. And so that's the value, one of many values in a meditation practice. Um, and yeah, I've been doing that, and it has helped. It has. Another thing that's very much like meditation is walking. And I used to think walking alone was one of the better things to do, and it is. But if you walk with someone else, you get pretty much the same benefit. And there's a social aspect that's also very nice because, um, like when you're walking alone, your mind can wander, and it often wanders across all kind of different things. And the constant step, the cadence of your walking and your breath, it's very similar to certain types of meditation, and that you've got this constant thing going, but then your mind is sort of floating around wherever it wants. Very similar to almost like a mantra type of meditation in a way, except instead of having a mantra in your mind, you have your footsteps going. Very therapeutic. I highly recommend walking. If you don't want to meditate, not every practice is for everyone. I've recommend all kind of things to a lot of different people, and I know sometimes they're just like, "No, John, I don't want to do that. Leave me alone." And that's fine. That's fine. Not every practice is for everybody. But when you find something that's effective for you, and walking is also very healthy for your body. So if you don't want to do anything else, go for a walk. Um, but even walking with another person, the conversation will flow in an organic way, much like thoughts flow if you're by yourself. And you're walking, and as you walk, you're exercising, you're burning out various chemicals from your body, even stress chemicals. And so and then there's the social aspect as well. So whether you walk with a friend or a group of friends, I see this group of ladies often when I go out for walks in the morning, and like they're just all chatting away. And for them, I'm sure that's extremely healthy because they're probably talking and letting things out and um, making their social connections for the day is great, and they're getting exercise. And so walking is a wonderful thing, and just talking to people, and sometimes you learn stuff. We talk about all kind of things. It's it's just a good experience. Fresh air, really nice. So yeah, circling back to the beginning topic of this video, uh, test anxiety, not just performance anxiety, test anxiety for this blood test coming up. So I wanted to make the video now because it's a few days away, and I'm right in the middle of feeling this anxiety. And it's funny how after the fact, once it's gone, like if I got good results and I was happy, I would look back, I would probably forget how I felt right now. But right now, I'm right in the middle of it. So it's the best time to talk about it. Um, yeah, a low level of anxiety, but it's manageable. It's not too bad. And it is a nice thing to meditate on. Yeah, but why meditate on bad things? I want those to go away. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just welcome it, embrace it. I used to say, embrace the suck, like things that suck. Embrace the suck. And then I thought I made that up, but then I saw a picture of some Marines hiking, and a guy had it on his backpack. It said, embrace the suck. I was like, did I invent that, or did I pick it up subconsciously from these guys? I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing it before, but I mean, maybe it's just a sign that it's a good philosophy to have. I don't know, but you sit with something and you realize that you can get through it. You can manage with it. Just breathe with it, sit with it. These things fade away. Even if you're really anxious, if you've been practicing for a while and you sit with it, you sit with those sensations, watch the sensations dissolve. It's funny, like awareness is kind of like the sun shining on a puddle of water, and your anxiety is that puddle, and the awareness itself, just like the heat from the sun on a puddle of water, the water evaporates. The same thing happens with the anxiety. Um, but you can't really try to force it. You really have to just sit patiently, be present with it, allow it to be there. It's part of your experience. It's part of your life. We may not want it, but there's a whole lot of benefit in just sitting with that whole sensation and just seeing what it's all about. You learn a lot about yourself just doing that. So I will report back after I get my blood test. Maybe I'll make another video like in the middle of it. After I've given blood and before I get the results, I'll probably be going nuts right then. And I'll make another video around the time of the piano recital. We'll see what I actually wind up doing. I'm gonna go measure by measure, mastering some song. I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to do. But maybe I'll post part of the recital if I don't totally mess it up. Or maybe if I do mess it up, it'll be really funny. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining me and listening to my long dissertation on anxiety and what I'm experiencing. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, or if it's in the middle of the week, have a great day. See you next time.